going to be doing the replays for the Kittinity deck. Um, so this deck got a bit of spotlight, at least for a week in the upper community because it's a brew. It's based on previous brews on 8 of Fling Affinity deck with some Mold Drifters and Ephemerate for card draw. Are changing some things, mostly removing some other threats and adding more grind. So what you are doing here is trying to grind the open out with Mood Drifters, Fisher, Train Inspector, Ephemerate, Thoughtcast, and Cantrips, and removal, while you have the out to just 8 of link them when they tap out or something. So you are hitting them for 2, 4, 6 a turn with a couple of flyers, and if they try to resolve that, for example, with I don't know, a Stonehold Dignitary to not die, then you can just fling the atom you have shielding there. So that's more or less the idea of the deck. A couple of interesting things. Thraven Inspector is great in Affinity. It's not being played, I think, because it's white and right now Affinity based are more Timor based. But 1-2 that enables your drums and gives you another artifact is great. So that's like more or less the same thing that player Husk does in the normal Affinity list, just enabling your Spring Drama being an artifact, but you have the also the upside that it cantrips, so it's amazing. It's really amazing. One of the best cards in the deck. Without Thraven Inspector, this probably wouldn't click. So in order to play Core Fisher, you need things to bounce. You can't just like bounce artifacts or something and have a cheap 2-3 flyer. That's not the way to do it in Pauper. So what do we have here? We have 4 Thraven Inspectors. So basically you turn this into 5 mana cantrip, and Prophetic Prism for the same purpose. It's a bit cheaper if you bounce the Prophetic Prism, but sometimes you want to bounce the Thraven because you can maybe play it right away and get another artifact. Then we have Moon Drifter, which is the best thing to bounce with Korsky Fisher if it is in a very late game. This does draws to card and you can evoke it. So what we are trying to do with this deck is also use the Ephemerate card. Ephemerate is amazing. You can evoke and then Ephemerate the Moon Drifter and basically cast Necropotence and a 2-2 flyer for 4 mana. Then we have removal, we have 4 Galvanic Glass and 2 Bolts. I opted for Bolt in this build because we were expecting a bit of burn, so Bolt is very good against Thermal Alchemist, and also is good against most other decks, for example Delver decks, to have instant speed removal for their fairies and that kind of stuff. Other options are Journey to Nowhere and Fork Bolt, for example, or Fire Ice. But this going in phase is also very good. That can provide a bit of reach, which is going to be seen when I do the replays. Then for the artifact package, we have 4 Chromatic Star. This card is just good in the sense that it cantrips and fixes our mana, which we have a very mixed bag of cards. We have 3 colors here. We have 2 Spring Drum, which serves as basically another land that provides all colors, and ramps for our Mood Drifter. This is also very important for us to cast, for example, a turn 3 Mood Drifter, an evolved Mood Drifter with Ephemerate. All the Mixture, which provides a bit of disruption. For example, against elves, this is MVP because you can counter their card draw and then kill their important dudes and just tempo them out. But also it's very important because it has Transmute and you can find the idol and fling. Sometimes you opt to find a Korsky Fisher to bounce something if it's very late in the game and you need card draw, but that's not the common use. Then Thoughtcast is just 1 mana to draw 2 cards, the best cantrip you can ask for. So it's better than Preordain in this deck most of the time. So that's more or less these cards. One important thing about Ephemerate is that you can ephemerate whatever, for example an Ado, in response to removal. And then on the rebound, maybe you, I don't know, flicker a Thraven Inspector, so it was a Dispel or Dive Down, that cantrip. So ephemerate is very very good in this deck. It's better than a counterspell most of the time, and has the out to just flicker Moon Drifter and draw a ton of cards. So then the mana base is a bit funky. At first we have 17 lands with 3 caves, I think, and 2 Darkseid Citadel, but I opted for 2 in this build. This card fixes our mana and also has a bit of the upside of just putting counter somewhere. For example, in a Korsky Fisher you have a 4/5 flyer, and against the decks that are trying to raise, that's going to stop them from attacking us, or maybe we can attack through other blockers. So this is a very good mana sink late game. And then we have 1 of each basic and Nash Baron. So the idea behind this is that we want to have more color mana because we draw a ton of cards and want to play our stuff. So Darkseid Citadel doesn't help us there, but also we didn't want more artifact lands. For example, you can play of color artifact lands. You don't want to play them because post board Gorilla Shaman is going to wreck you. So we were between playing an indestructible land that is resilient to Gorilla Shaman or color sources. We opted for color sources. It's worse with Ari Token Thoughtcast, but it's best in the sense that you can always cast your spells. Ash Parents, the upside is that sometimes you have like 2 prophetic prisms and you're perfectly perfectly fixed, so you can just play it instead of cycling it. So that's another upside. Yeah, so 18 lands is better than 17 in this deck because we have so much stuff to do, like Korsky Fisher, Bounce and Prophetic Prism, Replaying Prism, and all that is very mana intensive way of drawing cards. So we need more lands than the normal affinity deck. Then in the sideboard we have Low Missionary versus really aggressive strategies. For example, Burn is MVP, you can ephemerate it and bounce it back with Korsky Fisher, and against Stompy, again for buffing your life total and trading with something. Standard Bearer against mono white heroic, boggles, elves, and so on is very very good. Again, against some decks, for example, boggles, they maybe have like they know you play this, so they play like I don't know, Gotcha. But you have ephemerate, so if you ephemerate this, then it's more like a hardlock in the sense that they only have so many outs to this. Most decks run like 2 good shots at best, so if you can counter one, then you got them knocked while you hit in the air. So that's more or less our game plan there. Then some blasts, blue blasts, very very good against Gorilla Shaman. We are very worried about them, so we always bring all this in against red-based decks. For example, Boros Monarch, we aren't very worried about their removal, but we are very worried about their Gorilla Shaman. And Red Blast to fight against Counter Wars and Drifters. Then we have 1 Electricity, which is great against Fairies and Elves. 1 Gorilla Shaman against Affinity, maybe seeing that there are a lot of Affinity decks, bumping these to 2 makes more sense. And then 2 Kraken Shaman, which are great against most Go White decks. We don't care about 3-4-4ing ourselves or something to clean the board. Since we have so many flyers, this doesn't hit all of our creatures, and the upside is also that we draw more cards than the opponent more often than not, so that's good. So I'm going to be doing the replays for this deck, and I'll try to put it in each game, so it's more digestible, and then put it on in a playlist. I played this in the challenge last weekend. I didn't play it alone, I played with a friend, which he's ECXing in Magic the Gathering Online. He didn't play a lot of Magic Online just yet, but I'm trying to bring him to the community. He's a very good friend of mine, and we play a lot of Magic together. we kind of started play. He started playing Affinity in Popper, and then I started. He looked at the Muldrifter 8 build, and he really liked it, so he built it, and it was like a bit of a meme, but it was very good. He had some good records in our LGS, and then I jokingly said, let's put Korskai Fisher more removal, and then we started brewing about that. And when we brew it and played it in the LGS, it had a very good, some very good finishes, several for ones. So then we run it in leagues here, and we have more for ones. We never actually 5-0'd with it, so that's why it was only the list was never published anywhere. But we had some very amazing win rate. So like I think we had like 3-4-1s and 1-2-3 in leagues, and then 6-3 in the challenge. So that's reasonably good for a deck. That's a brew. So I think we're very happy with the deck. So yeah, I'm going to be playing the league now.